Well, Shaka Hislop, summertime means beaches, it means suntan lotion, and it means talking about transfers on
Oh,
ESPN
well,
FC. Yeah,
well,
well, come on.
one out of three is not bad, I guess.
We've been doing it, yeah, we've been doing it for 12 years, so we may as well keep it going. And it'll be interesting to look back before we get to these seven names I want to talk about today on the kind of success rate of some of the names that have been thrown up in the past, because some of them have been absolute rascals and were never going to happen. But we spoke about them anyway. So let's see how many of these have a chance of happening and how many of them are just to fill column inches. I want to start with Raheem Sterling's future, because Raheem Sterling's still got a year left at Manchester City, but there's talk about Real Madrid, there's talk about potentially Chelsea. Do you see Raheem Sterling leaving Man City and then taking a fee this summer if he doesn't agree a new deal?
Yeah, I do. I do think Raheem Sterling moves on from Manchester City. I don't anticipate him signing a new deal, given his lack of playing time. Certainly as far as he's concerned, I believe something will happen this summer. I don't see Real Madrid. I'll be honest with you. Raheem Sterling plays on the left-hand side, right where Vinicius Jr. is. I don't see how Raheem gets in ahead of Vinicius Jr. I don't see how he gets on the right-hand side in front of Valverde either. We are talking about the European champions here. Chelsea, I think more likely, but I'm not that certain that move comes together. So while I say I see Raheem Sterling moving on, right now I'm not sure where.
What about Richarlison? Because at Everton, he's attracted a lot of attention due to his form. Teams like PSG, Man United have been linked, but Everton are still in the Premier League, so they've got to hope that they can keep him. Do you think he'll stay?
Yes, I do. And I'll be honest here. I think Richarlison is a talented striker. Certainly, he's shown that. But over the last few weeks, and I know he's gotten goals, and valuable goals to keep Everton in the Premier League, but most of them have been a little bit scrappy. I just feel that his form has dropped. I don't know if it's the pressure of the situation that got to him, but if I'm PSG or Manchester United, given their own ambitions as to where they think they expect to see their club next season, I'm not sure that Richarlison's the strike I'm going to go for right now. So I just don't see who the viable suitor is. So maybe it'll take another year far more consistently, where Richarlison shows far more consistency, should I say, before we see big clubs again kind of having their interests piqued.
Neymar, what do you think happens to him?
He stays there. I don't know who takes a gamble on Neymar, given the kind of money that he would command. I don't think he's lived to expectation in PSG, and I don't think anybody takes that problem off of their hands at how much it will cost them.
Romelu Lukaku. Now, before the last few games of the season, most of the time, the only time we saw him was when the match director of the TV coverage panned to the bench and there was a guy just miserable sitting there and going, woe is me. Then things changed towards the end of the season. He got into the team, he took his opportunities, he got among the goals as well. Was that just a kind of, well, this is what I can do, I'm on the move, Inter have been linked? Is there any future for Lukaku at Chelsea?
I don't think so. I've been waiting for Lukaku to rediscover his form, and I don't think it ever came. And now I'm resigned to thinking that it just was not a good fit for whatever reason. And now linked. Well, I've been linked ever since that interview he gave way back when. Inter, of course, have now lost their throne in Italy and want to regain that. My challenge is, if Inter are seriously interested, at what price? I'm not sure. I don't think Chelsea at all get their money back. Questions about how much Lukaku would command wage-wise and whether Inter would be willing to take that on. So it all comes down to how much of a hit Chelsea are willing to take. They may be willing to take a sizable hit if they are able to get a replacement, Lewandowski, at a price that affords them to still take on some of Lukaku's own wages. There's a lot of moving pieces to that.
Before we get to the last two or three players in this week's kind of edition of transfer speculation, and it does need a name, so we can work on that over the summer as well. One thing I just want to touch upon with regards to the Lukaku deal, a lot of the time when you get something like this and you get a player potentially returning to the club that sold him previously, there's still money owed. So, for example, Chelsea would have paid Inter whatever, but the structure of that deal, it's unlikely that it would have been all the money up front at once. So that could be another reason that could help that move go through, Lukaku going back to Inter, because I would be amazed if all the money that was due to Inter from the sale of Lukaku to Chelsea has been played, given the structure of the way that these multi-million-pound deals are done.
Every time I see you, Mark, I think accountant. And that's exactly why. You fit the bill so well.
Okay, how much am I taking from Christian Eriksen if I can get him a move to either Spurs, potentially Newcastle, or do you know what? Because Brentford were the team that not took a chance on him, but offered him the opportunity after everything that had gone on. Is Brentford an opportunity for Christian Eriksen to stay, or do you think he'll be on the move?
I think Brentford's an opportunity for exactly the reason that you just stated. And the truth is, Eriksen has been the feel-good story about this game for the last 12 months. And his comeback, whether you're a Brentford fan or not, whether you're a Christian Eriksen fan or not, or a Denmark fan, or previously a Spurs fan or Inter, everybody feels good about Christian Eriksen and seeing him playing and putting in the performances that he had. And nobody would begrudge Christian Eriksen doing anything in this game. Whether it's stay at Brentford, nobody would criticize him if he left and went back to Spurs, or somewhere else for that matter. So from that perspective, anything works here. If he stays at Brentford, so be it. If he goes back to his old stomping ground or Tottenham Hotspur, again, I don't think anybody begrudges that. But his performances for Brentford suggest he can, again, play for a big club. Whether that's what he wants to do, that's entirely up to him. Right now, all Christian Eriksen wants to do is enjoy his football. And all we as fans want to do is enjoy this Christian Eriksen story continuing for a little longer, regardless of what color that strip may be.
Here's one for you, Shaka. Giorgio Chiellini to Major League Soccer. Now, LAFC have been linked with a move for the veteran defender. We've got quite a few players coming over this summer at the conclusion of the European season, like Hector Herrera, who's going to Houston Dynamo. But Giorgio Chiellini to LAFC, what about that one?
Doesn't add up for me, simply because of Chiellini's age. Chiellini will be 38 in August. I'm not sure that defenders coming into MLS at that age are equipped for that league. There'll be a lot expected of Chiellini. And while living a lot at Juventus, in my own experience, playing in Europe as an older player, people understand that and are able to adjust their games around you, your lack of mobility or whatever it may be, and lean on your leadership. Coming into MLS, you are expected to bring that same level of leadership. I don't think the players around you are as well equipped for advanced years. And I'm putting it as nice as I can, given that was me not so long ago. So Chiellini as a defender coming into MLS doesn't make sense. I think older strikers have found huge levels of success in MLS. I just don't see it happening for defenders.
Now, Gareth Bale, are we leaving the best to last? Are we leaving the most confusing transfer of the summer to last? Or is it a case of the last 3 or 4 summers? We've been speaking about Gareth Bale. He's not going anywhere. But how about this? The favourites with the bookies are Cardiff City and MLS as well, potentially for a move to the States. But we need some creative accountancy here if you're going from Real Madrid to Cardiff City. How does that work?
Gareth Bale has earned more than enough in his career and can afford to play anywhere for free if that's what he chooses, but will go somewhere he enjoys his football. And the one thing, for all the discussion, for all the criticism and debate we've had about Gareth Bale, the one thing every single pundit agreement on is that Gareth Bale enjoys representing Wales. He enjoys going back home. I know that's for his national team. And so going back to play for Cardiff, to me, makes more sense. He'll be happy. He could get to play as much golf as he wants. Nobody will begrudge him that. Nobody will be critical of how much time he spends on a golf course. If he is hurting and can only train once a week, again, Cardiff will accommodate that. And nobody will be critical of that at all. He will be handled exactly as Gareth Bale wants to be handled. So that, for me, makes the most sense. He could probably find that level of treatment, of accommodation in Major League Soccer, but I think there's something being in Wales that Gareth Bale just fully enjoys. And so Cardiff makes the most sense when I think about where Gareth Bale lands next.
That would be a lovely story. I just wonder, would he be able to afford a Monday to Friday membership at Celtic Manor Golf Club, though?
Well, off-peak hours, he might be able to get something.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.